let's take a look at the marketing module. In my humble opinion, if you are starting a microdistillery, marketing is probably the most critical aspect of running that business. Certainly marketing is a critical aspect in any business, but I think more so with a microdistillery. The reason being, microdistilleries are very new, and for years and years and years, Canadians have become very accustomed to certain brand names. There are people out there that I know that only drink Weiser's whiskey, who only drink Bombay Sapphire, who only drink Absolute Vodka, who only drink Grey Goose, who only drink Crown Royal. We have developed ferocious brand loyalties. And so as a microdistiller, you're looking to upset that. You're looking to take that consumer away from that decades-old brand loyalty and switch him or her over to your product. Not an easy thing to do. You're getting into a $6.3 billion market. It's big. It's big. We enjoy our drink, and we spend a lot of money on it in Canada. Now, of the $6.3 billion that we spend on alcoholic beverage, what percentage of that is actually distilled spirits? How big is that market? Well, the answer is 25%. So about a quarter of every alcoholic beverage dollar that we spend goes to spirits. So you're still dealing with a pretty good size market if you're thinking about becoming a microdistiller. Now, what percentage of the alcoholic spirits that we buy are actually foreign imports? That is to say, the Absolute Vodkas, the Tanqueray gins, the liqueurs from around the world. What percentage of our spirit purchases are foreign imports? Is it 10%? Is it 19%? Or is it a third? Well, it's a third. So you're dealing with some of these huge foreign producers, the Diageos, the Pernod Ricards, and these are the guys that I keep saying have got deep pockets and multi-million-dollar marketing campaigns behind them. But here's the good news. We seem to be, as a society, undergoing a shift. I note that some of the recent statistics from Stats Can tell me that beer sales are basically slowing right to a crawl. The beer market isn't growing, which is good, because hopefully that bodes well then for consumers to maybe drink less beer and hopefully drink more spirits. Wine sales are growing at 4.9% a year. The current growth rate for liquor is 2.9% a year. So, like I say, it is growing at a fairly modest clip, and let's hope that as consumers gravitate away from the beer market, the liquor sales can sort of pick up some of that changeover. Market, 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 market. I cannot emphasize that enough, and I risk sounding like a broken record. But you have to market. You have to reach out to people. You have to wake them up. You have to challenge their brand loyalties that they've developed. You have to make them realize that you've got a product that is different, unique, one of a kind. Going back to the example from earlier in the spirits definition, we saw the Toronto Distilling Company. Yeah, they could have easily charcoal filtered that product and called it a vodka, but by staying clear of that, they're saying, hey, look at us, we're unique. We've built our distillery downtown Toronto, not too far from where there used to be one 100 years ago. We're using an organic wheat, and not only is it organic, it's red Fife, which has got some historical connections to the settling of Upper Canada, Ontario. So you have to tap into these emotional veins to get the consumer to look at you. A lot of people roll their eyes back in their head when the subject of marketing comes up. So really and truly, what is marketing? Well, in our society, in our life, we really only have needs and wants. We need food, we need clothing, we need shelter. And it has been that way ever since the days of the caveman. But as society has changed, we have developed wants. We want a fancy pair of shoes. We want a faster car. We want a new pickup truck. We want a bottle of vodka, a bottle of gin, a bottle of whiskey. We don't need it, but we want it. So marketing is the science, and it is a science, and it's the science of making a person want something. They don't need it, but you've got to convince them that they want it. Now, how do you make people want something? Well, you could run some radio ads. Turn on any radio station in your town or your city where you're from. You're going to hear construction companies advertising, auto body companies, landscaping companies. People advertise on the radio. And you can, meet with your local radio station, and you can work out cost per ad and the time of day that the ads are aired, and you can, do the voiceover yourself to save money. You can hire someone, but you can craft radio ads. You can do likewise with the newspaper. Meet with your local paper. You can run various sizes of ads on different pages in the newspaper, different times of the week. You can maybe put flyers in your newspaper. Where I come from in Regina, Saskatchewan, we don't have Thursdays anymore. Thursdays have been canceled. We have flyer days, and on Thursday mornings when I get the local newspaper first thing in the morning, I exaggerate not, there's got to be 1.5 inches or 2 inches of just flyers in there. Embrace the connectivity of the world. We've got websites, we've got Facebook, we've got LinkedIn, we've got Twitter, we've got Instagram, Pinterest, Google+, and the list goes on and on and on. Use all of it. That's how you're going to get someone to want something. You're not going to get it by blathering at them on the radio, sending them another flyer in the mail, winking at them with electronic billboards on Main Street. That's not going to work, but what will work is the social media. I've got a number of videos here that I'm going to show you to illustrate that the power of the written word is a seriously wicked tool. And what I'm referring to is Neurolinguistic Programming, and that is the science of using the written word to trigger emotional buttons in the person's psyche. I'm going to give you a quick example before we backtrack and go to these videos. This is an example that I found from Bombay Sapphire. They recently bought an old distillery somewhere in the central part of England, and they've refurbished it. And it's called Laverstoke Mill, and it's in a rural area somewhere. Well, here they tell you, Hampshire. Now, Bombay Sapphire could have simply run an ad in the paper